Eli was tired. His boots were covered in mud, and his backpack felt heavier with every step. He walked through the deep forest alone, with only the sound of dry leaves under his feet. The air was heavy, almost too quiet. No birds, no wind. Animals. Something didn't feel right. He had come here to escape. After the accident, after losing everything, he didn't want to see people anymore. He thought the forest would help him heal, give him peace. But this place didn't feel peaceful. It felt wrong. The trees were taller than any he had seen before, like giants. Watching him from above, the leaves were darker, almost black. The path he had followed was now gone. He had no idea where he was. Still he kept walking. Suddenly he heard a sound, a soft clicking, like metal against stone. He froze. Looked around. Nothing. He took another step. The ground moved. Before he could react, the earth beneath him gave way. The floor disappeared, and he fell straight down. Eli crashed hard into something smooth. It wasn't mud or rocks. It was like falling into the center of a giant glass bowl. His flashlight rolled away, flickering. He groaned and sat up, his body aching. He looked up. The hole he fell through was already closing. Slowly, like a living thing sealing itself shut. No dirt, no roots. Just silence. He was trapped. The walls around him were strange. Smooth, glowing. Slightly. They had marking symbols, almost like writing, but nothing he recognized. They moved when he touched them, like water under glass. What is this place? He whispered. No answer. Just the sound of his breathing. Then he heard it, a heavy step. Something was above him. A shadow passed over the hole. Someone was there. A face appeared, but it wasn't human. She was tall, taller than any woman he had ever seen. Her skin was metallic, almost silver blue. Her eyes glowed like fire in the dark. She wore armor made of bone and metal, shaped like something ancient, something powerful. On her back, a long weapon, sharp and deadly. She stared down at him. Eli stood slowly. Hey, who are you? Help me get out of here. She didn't move. Her expression didn't change. Then she spoke, but not in English. Her voice was low, strong, the words sharp, alien. Eli couldn't understand a single thing she said. But the way she looked at him, the way she tilted her head, she was studying him, not like a person, like a test subject. Listen, I don't know where I am. I fell into this trap. I need help. She turned away. He shouted louder, hitting the wall with his hand. Hey, don't leave me here. But she was gone. The light dimmed slightly. Eli sat down, confused, angry, afraid. This wasn't just some cave. This was something made on purpose. This was a trap. Hours passed. Or maybe it was minutes. Time was strange here. Then suddenly, a panel opened in the wall. A small tray slid in. It had food on it. Not human food, but something. A soft glowing fruit, and a thick blue liquid in a metal cup. He didn't want to eat it, but hunger won. As he chewed slowly, he noticed something. The wall across from him began to shimmer. A screen appeared, like a window turning clear. On the other side, a room. The warrior was there. She stood in front of a display, watching something. It was him, a recording. Falling into the trap, sitting in the pit, eating the food. She was watching him like a scientist watching an animal. Eli stepped back. Why me? He whispered. The screen went black. Then a voice, deep and robotic, echoed from the wall. Phase 1 complete. His heart raced. Phase? What phase? What is this? The pit shook slightly. Another wall opened. A dark tunnel led out, filled with strange glowing symbols on the floor. He didn't know what waited on the other side. But staying here wasn't an option. Eli took one last look at the hole he had fallen through. There was no way back. No way out, except forward. He stepped into the tunnel. As he disappeared into the darkness, Far above him, the alien warrior stood watching. Her expression was still unreadable, but in her hand, she held something, a piece of metal, a dog tag. It had a name on it. Eli Grant. And under it, a word written in her language, candidate. Asterisk. Eli opened his eyes to silence, not darkness. Not noise, but perfect silence. The tunnel he had entered earlier was gone. In its place, he now stood inside a wide, circular room. The walls were made of the same glowing material, smooth and strange, but this space was different. It felt alive. The air was warmer here. The light pulsed softly, like the heartbeat of something watching him. He wasn't alone. Across the room stood her, the alien warrior. No weapon in her hands. Just her eyes fixed on him, cold, sharp, unreadable. Eli's fists clenched. "What do you want from me?" She said nothing. Instead, she turned and walked to the center of the room. A pattern lit up beneath her feet, ancient symbols glowing orange and red. She stopped, faced him again, then raised her hand and made a gesture, slow and deliberate, like she was inviting him, a challenge. Eli didn't move. She tilted her head slightly, and for the first time, he saw something strange in her expression. Not hate, not cruelty. Curiosity. A soft click echoed behind him. He turned quickly. A door had appeared in the wall. Behind it, a smaller chamber with a sleeping mat, a metal bowl of water, and armor, not hers, human-sized, it looked like. It had been waiting for him. Eli walked over, slowly. The armor was light, flexible, but strong. He picked up one piece. It hummed in his hand. As he touched it, another voice spoke, not hers. A machine voice, cold, mechanical. Trial 2. Begins at sunrise. He looked around. Trial? What kind of trial? No reply. The door closed behind him, locked. Hours passed, or maybe it was less. Time moved strangely in this place. Eli sat near the mat, staring at the wall. His mind was a storm, memories. Of Earth, his old life, the accident, the loneliness, and now this. He wasn't just trapped. He was being tested. But for what? Suddenly, a loud thud shook the floor, then another. Something heavy was approaching from outside. The room opened once more, not with light, but smoke. And through the smoke, the warrior stepped in. This time she carried something, a staff. Made of bone and metal, glowing at the ends. She walked around him in a slow circle, studying him. Then she did something unexpected. She dropped the weapon in front of him and stepped back. No words. No fight, just a look. She wanted him to pick it up. Eli looked at the staff, then at her. What is this training? She didn't respond. He picked up the weapon. It was heavier than it looked, but balanced. Familiar somehow. As if it was designed for him. She stepped forward, fast. He barely blocked her first strike. It wasn't a real fight. Not yet. She moved with speed, but didn't hit hard. She was testing him, his reactions, his instincts, his fear. And even when he missed, she didn't punish him. She only watched. Then she stopped. Her voice broke the silence, low and strange. Her own language, but this time, she said one word in English, survive. And with that, she walked away, disappearing through a wall that closed behind her. Eli stood there, breathing hard, gripping the staff. Something had changed. She wasn't trying to kill him, not yet. She wanted him to learn, but why? That night, Eli didn't sleep. He sat by the glowing wall, staring at the strange patterns. Every few minutes the lights would shift, showing moving images. Other creatures. Other traps. Other people, human-looking, running, fighting. Failing. And then, something caught his eye. A short clip, less than 5 seconds. A man, bearded, wearing a torn flight suit, trying to climb out of a pit. Then a sudden flash. And he was gone, not just dead. Erased. Eli stood up slowly. His hands were shaking. He wasn't the first. He might not even be the 100th. This place, this test, it was ancient, and it had swallowed many before him, but none had passed. And that made him wonder, what happens to the one who does? Just before dawn, the door opened again. Not smoke this time. Wind. Real, fresh air. Jungle air. He stepped outside. The alien warrior stood far ahead, at the edge of a dense alien forest. The ground was covered in strange glowing plants, and something howled in the distance. She turned to him, pointed toward the trees, and spoke clearly, in English this time. Enter, survive, be chosen, or be forgotten. Ailey stared at the jungle. He knew deep inside, this was more than just survival. This was a game, a war, and he had already stepped too far in to turn back. He took his first step toward the trees, and the jungle swallowed him whole. The first thing Eli felt was the heat. It wasn't like Earth's warmth. This heat had weight, like it was alive, pressing against his skin, sticking to his breath. The air was thick with fog, glowing faint green, and the ground under his boots pulsed slightly, as if something moved beneath it. He had entered the jungle, but this was no ordinary jungle. The trees were twisted, reaching the sky like claws. Their leaves shimmered like metal. Strange vines moved slowly, curling and uncurling without wind. Every few steps, the ground made a soft hum, like it was whispering. Eli gripped the staff the warrior had given him. He wasn't alone here. Something was watching him. He moved slowly through the dense alien forest, eyes scanning, ears open. The jungle made no normal sounds, no birds, no insects, just a distant echo of something large moving far away. Then he saw it. A skull. Not human. Not animal. It was long, sharp, with 3 eye sockets and metallic teeth. And it was fresh. Something had died here, or something had been hunted. He knelt beside it, searching the area. Footprints, but not boots. Clawed, deep, heavy, whatever. Killed this thing was close. He moved on. Minutes passed. Or maybe hours. Then from above, a rustle. He looked up. Too late. A creature dropped from the trees, landing just feet away from him. It was 6-legged, low to the ground, with skin like wet stone and glowing red eyes. Its mouth opened sideways, revealing rows of teeth that moved in circles. Eli raised the staff, backing up slowly. The creature didn't attack. Not yet. It circled him, sniffing, twitching. Then, it lunged. Eli swung hard, hitting its side. The impact shook his arms, but it worked. The beast screamed, a high-pitched screech, and leaped back. Eli ran, crashing through thick vines, heart pounding. The jungle responded. Plants moved aside. Trees shifted. As if the arena was alive. Adjusting the path, leading the hunt. He tripped, rolled, landed beside a thick root. The creature roared behind him. No time to think. He spun and stabbed the glowing end of the staff into the creature's chest. A blast of energy surged from the weapon, bright and violent. The creature howled, then exploded into ash and smoke. Silence. Eli fell back, breathing hard, shaking. His hands were bleeding. His lip was cut. But he was alive. He looked at the staff. It's not just a weapon, he whispered. It's tech. Then, a sound, not the jungle, a clap. He looked up. Across the clearing stood the warrior. She had been watching. Again. But this time, her face showed something new. Approval. She stepped forward slowly, never taking her eyes off him. Her voice was calm but cold. You learn. You survive, but not fast enough. Eli stood confused. You want me to die out here? She didn't answer. Instead, she tossed something toward him, a metal disc. He caught it. It glowed in his palm, then projected a hologram, a map. Symbols, markers, a countdown. Then, it spoke. Arena phase, 47 hours remaining. Complete objective or be terminated. He stared at her. What's the objective? The warrior turned. Away, disappearing into the trees. Eli looked at the map again. 3 glowing points. 1 word under each. Test. He moved quickly now. The map guided him, but the jungle fought back. He crossed rivers that smelled like acid, climbed trees that tried to grab him, dodged creatures that blended into the ground. Each test point brought a new challenge. 1 was a puzzle, alien locks that opened with sound and rhythm. 1 was a trap, a collapsing platform above a pit of vines with teeth. The last ... was a message. A broken human radio, still powered, still blinking. He pressed the button. Static. Then a voice, weak, distorted, but human. This is LT. Reese, I failed. If you're hearing this, don't trust her. She lies. Then silence. Eli dropped the radio, heart frozen. She? The warrior? Why would she lie? Why bring him here at all? He turned, and behind him, standing in the fog, was her shadow. Watching. Always watching. And this time, her weapon was drawn. Asterisk, the rain wasn't real. Eli stood still, soaked from head to toe. But when he touched his face, it was dry. Above him, clouds shifted in impossible patterns. Lightning cracked sideways, painting the sky in violet light. Trees around him shimmered, then changed shape, taller, thinner, like the jungle was watching, reacting. Something had changed. He had completed the 3 tests. And now the jungle was peeling away. Eli stepped forward, and the trees parted for him. What lay ahead wasn't forest anymore. It was ruins, massive stone pillars, broken arches, and carved walls, all glowing with lines of energy. In the center stood a single statue, a tall figure, armored, holding a weapon like hers. The warrior. Eli approached slowly. On the base of the statue, there was writing, not alien this time, English. She chose exile to protect them. But who protects her now? He froze. English. On an alien world. How? He stepped back, confused, and that's when he saw her, standing in the shadows. Watching. Always watching. But this time, she stepped into the light. No weapon, no armor, just her, raw, silent, unreadable. She said nothing for a long time. Then in a calm voice, she asked, "Why do you keep surviving?" Eli blinked. "What?" she repeated. "Why do you fight?" "Pain, fear, loss. You carry it like a chain." He didn't answer, because he didn't know. She walked toward the statue, touching it gently. Her voice was softer now. "This was my mother." Eli froze. "She was like you?" "She was better," the warrior said. "Stronger, wiser. She trained others to protect worlds." But she refused the final test. "What test?" The warrior turned to him. Obedience. She stepped closer to Eli, eyes burning with something different now. Not anger, not power, but pain. "I refused too. They sent me here. To prove I was still loyal, they gave me a choice." She held up her hand and opened her fist. Inside it, a necklace. Not alien. Human. Eli took it, carefully. His breath caught. It was his dog tag, but he had lost it weeks ago, after the crash. "How did you get this?" He whispered. She didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, "You were not chosen by mistake. They've been watching your world, testing humans. You are not the first." The jungle rustled behind them. Lights flickered across the ruins, and then, from above, a loud metallic hum echoed. Eli looked up. A ship, massive, floating low, silent and black like a shadow cut from the sky. The warrior looked at it, then back at Eli. "They have come. My people. They want to see if I have completed the mission." "What mission?" Her voice turned cold again. "To test you. To break you. To return with only the strong." Eli stepped back. "So what now? You take me to them like a prize?" Her hand moved slowly to the blade on her hip. For a second, the silence between them was louder than any scream. Then she said, "You passed every test." "Except one." "What test?" She looked him straight in the eye. The test of truth. Eli's voice shook. What truth? Her reply was almost a whisper. You were never supposed to leave. The sky cracked open. The ship began to descend. Lights blinked from its underbelly, scanning. The warrior turned toward it, and for the first time, Eli saw doubt in her eyes. Real, human doubt. He stepped forward. You don't have to do this. She closed her eyes as if battling two voices inside her head. Then. She reached into her armor and pulled out a glowing orb. Take this, she said. If I fail. Run. Hide. Never let them find you again. He stared at it. What is it? A memory, she said. My truth. And then, without another word, she turned and walked toward the light, toward the ship, toward her people. Leaving. Eli standing in front of the ancient statue. Holding her memory in his hand. Not knowing if she would return. Thought, or if this was the last time he would see her alive. The orb began to glow. Eli sat alone in the ruins, the alien jungle breathing around him as the orb pulsed softly in his palm, like it had a heartbeat of its own. He wasn't sure if he was ready, but there was no going back now. He pressed his thumb into the surface. A beam of light shot out, and the world vanished. Suddenly, he wasn't in the jungle anymore. He stood inside her memories. A glowing battlefield stretched before him, skies on fire, armored warriors charging across broken alien ground. Among them was her, younger, unscarred, full of rage and purpose. She fought without hesitation, blade flashing, enemies falling around her. But then came the moment everything changed. A child, human, ran into her path, lost, afraid. She froze. Her own soldier, a male with silver markings, shouted at her. Finish the mission. She dropped her weapon. And carried the child away. The memory blurred, flashes of chains, trial courts, alien leaders speaking words Eli couldn't understand. Then the final sentence. You chose emotion over obedience. You will redeem yourself or die forgotten. The vision ended, and Eli was back in the ruins, gasping for air. He finally understood. She had been forced to test him, but she had saved others before him, maybe even tried to protect Earth. She wasn't his enemy, but someone else was. Suddenly, the jungle roared. He jumped to his feet, the ground shaking beneath him. From the sky, 3 small pods dropped into the trees, silent and black. From each, a figure stepped out, tall, armored, faceless. Not like her, colder, harsher. Their armor had no marks, no symbols, only the glow of control. They were not warriors, they were judges. The lead figure raised its hand. Scanning the ruins, Eli backed away. Then a voice, sharp and echoing, came from behind him. You opened it. He turned. She was there, but different. Her armor was now complete, fully sealed, glowing with red light. Her face was hidden behind a mask. The woman who had once saved him now looked like every other soldier who wanted him gone. You gave me this, Eli said, holding the orb. You wanted me to see the truth. I did, she replied. Her voice was flat now, controlled. But they are watching. I had no choice. Eli stepped closer. You do now. She didn't move. The judges approached, their weapons raised. One of them spoke in a strange, sharp tongue. She answered in the same language, her tone cold, official. Eli couldn't understand the words, but he understood the look. She had just handed him over. The betrayal was real. Why? He whispered. After everything? She finally looked at him, her eyes behind the mask full of something hidden, pain. Because if I disobey again, they will destroy your world. Eli froze. It was bigger than him now. She wasn't protecting herself. She was protecting Earth. The lead judge stepped forward and raised a glowing collar, a control device. One snap around Eli's neck, and he'd become property. Experiment, soldier, or worse. He didn't wait. He ran through the ruins, into the jungle. Heart-pounding behind him. They didn't shout. They simply hunted. Silent. Deadly. And they were faster than him. Eli darted through thick vines, sliding under roots, climbing up glowing stone. He remembered her training, her tests, every survival trick she had forced him to learn. Now he knew why. She had taught him how to run. But also how to fight back. He stopped at a ridge, pulled out the staff, set a trap, used a tree root to trip the first judge. When it fell, he slammed the staff into its chest, the burst of energy knocking it into pieces. One down, two more, but they were smarter now. One circled, one climbed. Above him, he was surrounded, then silence. The second judge jumped. A blur of silver knocked it mid-air, sending it crashing to the ground. She stood above it, sword drawn. She had come back. Eli stared at her. "You betrayed me," she nodded. "I had to, but you saved me." She looked down at the fallen judge. "I had to do that too." The third judge appeared behind her, but this time, Eli attacked first. They fought together, fast, fluid, perfect. Two soldiers, two rebels. And when the final judge fell, silence returned. She turned to him, breathing hard. "Now we run." Eli narrowed his eyes. "Run where?" Her answer came with steel in her voice. "To the gate. The place they never want you to reach." He looked at the jungle ahead, now darker than ever. "What's behind it?" he asked. She paused. Then whispered, "Freedom or extinction." And without another word, they vanished into the trees, together. Asterisk. The sky was bleeding. Not with rain, with fire. Above the alien jungle, warships floated like shadows, silent and enormous. Their underbellies glowed red, casting light over the forest like a warning. The countdown had begun. Eli and the warriors stood at the edge of a deep valley. Below them, hidden in the green fog, lay an ancient structure, old, cracked, and covered in vines. But its shape was clear. A gate. The one they weren't supposed to reach. The one they weren't supposed to know even existed. Eli tightened his grip on the staff. "What is this place?" The warrior's voice was low. "A forgotten door. It leads to something older than my people. Something they fear. Then why haven't they destroyed it?" "Because they can't." She paused, then added, "But if we reach it, they'll try." Suddenly, the sky rumbled. 3 pods launched from the mothership. More soldiers. Not judges. Killers. They had no mission except elimination. The two ran down the slope, dodging trees and broken statues. As they moved, lights in the forest flickered, not natural, but technological. And Eli saw them, old cages. Metal tanks, bones. This jungle had once been a prison. Thousands had come before. None had left. Except, maybe one, the one who built the gate. He didn't ask questions now. He just ran. Above them, the ships were locking in. A voice, cold and synthetic, echoed through the trees. "Target identified. Terminate." Lasers burned through branches. The forest exploded behind them. But the warrior knew the path, twisting between rocks, jumping over pits, sliding under roots. Eli followed her, breath sharp, heart pounding. They reached the gate. It wasn't just a door. It was a monument. A ring of dark stone, floating slightly above the ground, spinning slowly, covered in symbols that shifted when looked at. It was alive. She placed her hand on the center symbol. The ring responded, glowing, opening a rift of swirling white-blue light. But before they could enter, the first assassin landed. It wasn't like the judges. It didn't speak. It simply moved fast. Silent, perfect. A blade appeared from its wrist. The warrior blocked the first strike, but the impact threw her backward. Eli stepped between them. He wasn't fast. He wasn't trained, but he wasn't scared anymore. He swung the staff, once, twice, missing the third. The assassin knocked him down, blade raised. Before it could strike, an explosion behind it. The warrior was back, sword drawn, armor cracked, eyes burning. Together. They fought. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. The assassin fell. The second one landed instantly, followed by the third. But this time, others came too. Figures appeared from the jungle, strange, silent, wearing pieces of broken armor, holding crude weapons. Survivors. Eli looked around in shock. Who are they? The warrior's voice was calm. Ghosts, left behind. Like me. She turned to them, raised her sword, and spoke a single word in her language. Loud and clear, rise. And they did. For the first time in years, the Forgotten fought back. The jungle became a battlefield, not between armies, but between what was controlled and what broke free. Eli ran toward the gate, dodging plasma blasts, covering the warrior. As she reactivated the ancient sequence, the ring glowed. Brighter now. The energy built up. One final code was needed. She pressed her hand again. Nothing happened. Eli looked at the gate, then at her. Then down, at his chest. The dog tag. He pulled it off. Placed it into the center. The gate responded. Energy surged. The ring activated. A path opened. But so did something else. From above, the mothership began to charge a cannon. The warrior saw it first. They'll destroy the gate. Eli turned to the survivors. Get through now. One by one, they entered the rift. Then the warrior looked at Eli. I was sent to test you. He nodded. You did. Her eyes softened. I was never meant to leave either. Eli stepped forward. Then let's break their rules. They ran into the light, together, as the jungle behind them burned. The light swallowed them whole. Eli expected fire, pressure, or maybe death. But what came next was silence. Not the kind he heard before. This silence had weight. When he opened his eyes, he wasn't in the jungle anymore. He stood on a platform, floating in the middle of space, stars spinning around him, galaxies stretched like rivers of color. The survivors stood behind him, silent. In front of them, the warrior knelt, her head lowered, her armor dim, and then he saw her. A figure stepped from the stars, tall, elegant, glowing with gold light. The queen, the true leader of the warrior's people. She looked like the warrior, but older, colder, and completely emotionless. The queen spoke, her voice echoing in all directions. The trial is complete. The candidate has reached the gate. He is the first. Eli frowned. First to what? The queen stepped closer. First to pass every phase: fear, pain, rebellion, sacrifice. She turned to the warrior. You disobeyed your final command. You are no longer one of us. The warrior didn't move. Eli stepped in front of her. If this is about loyalty, she's the only one who deserves your respect. The queen's eyes burned into him. This is not about loyalty. This is about selection. Then came the twist. The queen raised her hand. Behind her, a second figure walked forward. It was Eli. Another version of him. Same face, same scar. Tag. Eli stared in shock. What is this? The queen smiled, calm and cruel. You were never just a test subject. You were one of many, cloned, set across systems. Each one failed. Until now. Eli's legs went numb. The version of him beside the queen said nothing. His eyes were blank, robotic, a perfect soldier. No emotion. No memory. Just function. The queen continued. He was obedient. You were unpredictable. But both are useful. She turned back to the warrior. Your job was not to break him. It was to awaken him. The warrior looked up. Her voice was steady now, and I did. That's why you're afraid. In a flash she moved. Faster than Eli had ever seen her move before. She struck the queen. Once, twice, and chaos broke loose. The guards surrounded them. Eli grabbed the fallen weapon beside him, dodged a blast, and joined the fight. The other version of Eli attacked him. It was like fighting a mirror, but the clone had no soul. No hesitation. Just force. Eli fought with rage, memory, fire, and in the end, that's what made him stronger. He defeated the clone, but the queen wasn't done yet. She summoned a weapon from the air, pure energy, and aimed it at the gate. If I cannot control you, I will erase you. Eli stood tall beside the warrior. They looked at each other. Two rebels, two survivors. And without speaking, they moved together. The queen's weapon fired, but the warrior reached the core first. She took the blast, full force, and with her final breath, she pushed Eli through the gate. He screamed her name, but she was gone. The world went white. When Eli opened his eyes again, he was lying on grass. Real grass. A sky above him, blue, calm, and filled with birds. Not earth, but something like it. Peaceful. He sat up slowly. In his hand, the orb she gave him, still glowing faintly. And in the distance, a tower rose, ancient and quiet. Inside it he knew answers waited. But one thing was clear now. This wasn't the end of his story. It was only the beginning, because somewhere in the stars, they were still watching. And one day, they would come again. But next time, he would be ready.